This is video number 2 on line plots, and today we're going to focus on analyzing line plots. This is beyond what you've done in 3rd and 4th grade. This is a 5th grade standard. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the same example that we did in our last video. Here it is. Here are the pretend GPAs for term 1. Okay, same line plot as we used before. So now we have to figure out, how did these kids do? Well, one way to kind of look at how they did is to calculate something called the average. Now, there are so many names for average. It's called the average, but in math, it's also called the mean, M-E-A-N, the mean. In the MyMath book, it's called the fair share. And on the 5th grade math test at the end of the year, it could be called redistributing with equal amounts. What? Anyway, your parents will understand average. Some of them will understand mean, but when you get to fair share and that redistribution thing, forget it. They won't even know. I had never heard of that. So whatever you want to call it, today we're going to learn how to calculate it. It's very important. You have notes for this. You have notes for creation of a line plot and for analyzing a line plot. So feel free to use those notes. So the first thing we want to do is we want to get a total value of all of the x's on our line plot. Now you may think, well, we just count up the x's. It's 24, right? No, because each x is not worth the same thing. That's the trick. Let's say, for example, let's look at these 1 out of 4. 1 out of 4. Well, 2 people in this class got a GPA of 1 out of 4. That is not the same value as these folks all the way over here, 9 of them that got 4 out of 4. That's honors. So they are not worth the same thing. But it is still important that we counted up the x's, because here's how we're going to use that. We're going to build an equation. Oh, this looks very impressive, but it's really not that hard. We're going to build an equation to get the total. And here's what that looks like. So for my first ones, I have all of them are out of 4, right? A GPA is always out of 4. I counted 9 x's. And so 9 times 4 out of 4, that's my first column. 9 times 4 over 4 represents this column right here, because I have 9 x's. Each x is worth a 4, so 9 times 4 out of a total of 4 points. Does that make sense? So if you look at that, let's look at the second column, the 3's. I have 8 of them. So that would be 8 times 3 out of 4. Oh yeah. My third column, I have 5 of them. 5 x's, each x is worth 2. So 5 times 2 over 4. And finally, my poor lonely souls over here, each of these x's is worth 1. So that would be 2 times 1 over 4. So that's not that difficult. It looks like this. And what I have done is I have circled the point values. So here are my 4's, here are my 3's, here are my 2's, and here are my 1's. Now you just do your multiplying. And that's a times table thing. I promise I'm not going to nag you about that right now. So 9 times 4, 36 over 4, plus 8 times 3, 24 over 4, plus 5 times 2, 10 over 4, plus 2 times 1 is 2 over 4. Do not try and do these in your head. Write down the steps so that if you make a mistake, you can find your mistake. Now, all I have to do, because the denominators are common, hello, I love it, I just have to add up my numerators, and that gives me a score of 72 over 4. That's my total. That's not the average. That's my total. the average or the mean is math is your total divided by the number of observations, or x's, which we already know is 24. So if I take my 72 and I've modified this just a little bit because we have not yet learned multiplication and division of fractions. In fact, true division of fractions, you don't learn until the 6th grade. But stick with me, I'll help you out on that a little bit. So we're going to take that 72 and we're going to divide that by 24. How many times does 24 go into 72? If you do the division, guess how many times it comes out? 3 times. So I'm going to show that. So my average, or my fair share, or the mean of this is 3 out of 4. So my average score for all of these kiddos, if I look at them all, some of them got 2s, some of them got 3s or 4s or 1s, but the mean score, the average score in this class for this term is a 3 GPA out of 4. So as a teacher, I can look at that and is that good? Is that bad? What do I need to do? How many kids are really doing poorly? I can see by my line plot that I have these 2 kiddos over here that are really struggling. And most of my kiddos are somewhere here in the middle, but I have quite a few that are doing really, really well too. So there's a lot of information that you can get from a line plot. And just because it's in fractions doesn't really mean it's that much more difficult. So